Hello and good morning, dear students, and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let us start with today's daily news analysis, that is the daily Hindu analysis that we have every day at 10 a.m. on our BYJU'S Exam Prep app, on our BYJU'S Exam Prep YouTube channel. So, before we start with the analysis, before we start with the table of contents, a quick announcement that you will be having the PDF, the link to the PDF to this session in the video description. Also, after this session ends, you will have a small quiz on our Telegram channel. Okay, so do not forget to reach the Telegram channel after you end with this session. So in the table of contents, here are the 6 topics that we will be taking today. 2 of the topics are from GS2, 1 from GS3, and then we have 3 prelims topics. The first and the second topic, they talk about India's relationships, about India's foreign policy. First is India and Africa relationships, how we can improve them. Second is about a visit by the Filipino Foreign Secretary to India. So he is the counterpart of India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. So he visited India, and India and Philippines, they talked about the 2016 ruling of the Permanent Court of Arbitration. So what was it about? We'll take a look at that as well. Finally, we have this news, a very important news for everyone who uses internet, who uses websites, who uses applications regarding dark patterns. So the central government, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, has decided to issue certain norms against dark patterns. So what are dark patterns? What are the norms that have been issued? We'll take a look at that. In the prelim section, we have 3 news articles. First is about the Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam Knowledge Center and Space Museum, which has been inaugurated, the foundation of which has been laid down very recently. Next is about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and how Iran is set to become the 9th member of SCO. And finally, the last one is about the core sector of our economy, the 8 core industries. So let us start with the first topic. The first topic, it is an editorial topic. A new chapter in India-Africa ties can be written. See, Africa, it had been neglected for the past century. For the past 2-3 centuries, it was extremely neglected, extremely exploited by all the colonial powers. However, according to a paper by IMF, International Monetary Fund, according to this paper, the 21st century will be the African century. Because Africa will more and more embrace the idea of equality, of democracy. Also, from 2050 onwards, African nations, they will start to experience demographic transition, where there will be an extreme rise in the working age population, and this will lead to what? Demographic dividend that India is experiencing right now. So how can we improve our relationships with Africa? What is the current status of our relationship? We'll take a look in the upcoming slides. First, the context. There is a growing realization amongst the various communities, various academicians of India, that we need to step up, increase our collaborative efforts with Africa, not just in the fields of economy, but also in fields of socio-cultural relationships, in order to enhance our soft power in Africa. Because Africa, it is experiencing this demographic transition. It will see a rise in the working age population. It will see a rise in the market. So what India is experiencing right now, every company, every country wants to have a relationship with India. They want to establish their shops in India. Why? Because India has such a huge working age population which has money with it, and it wants to consume various goods. So everyone sees India as a very important market. In the upcoming years, in the upcoming decades, Africa will experience the same. So if we start building up our relationships from right now, then that will help us in tapping the African market and also simultaneously helping Africa in developing itself. So in fact, many countries across the world, many major powers, USA, China, Russia, European Union, Japan, Turkey, UAE, they have already started strengthening their African partnership. So India has a lot of competition when it comes to Africa. The biggest competition of India is that with China. See, China realized the potential of Africa. It realized how resource-rich Africa is, how this resource can be utilized by China for its development. Okay, so China, it established a good relationship with Africa starting in 1990s itself. Moreover, they had their own Africa policy, a robust Africa policy back since the year 2000, that is more than 20 years ago. So right now, because of all these efforts of China, China is the biggest economic partner of Africa. India is on the 5th rank when it comes to partnership with Africa. What all did China invest in? It invested in development of infrastructure across Africa. It provided various resources, both financial resources and other natural resources, training resources to Africa for Africa to develop itself. In fact, since 2007, if you see, there has been an increased movement of both Chinese as well as African delegates to each other, to this continent and this country. So Chinese leaders, they have visited the continent 123 times in the last 15 years. And African leaders have visited China 251 times. Okay, so that is far, far beyond what India has done. Right now, a few days ago, our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, he visited Egypt, one of the African nations. He also received the highest civilian award of Egypt as well, right? So it shows that India is now trying to improve its relationship with Africa as a whole. So what is the current status of Indo-African relationships? First is about trade and economic cooperation. See, India is 5th biggest trading partner of Africa. Our trade in the year 2022-23 almost touched 100 billion. It was $98 billion. Okay, it has grown a lot in the past few years. In 2021-22, according to official data, this trade was somewhere around $74.86 billion. So in the past 1 year, the trade has grown by leaps and bounds. Moreover, many Indian companies, they are already working in Africa. If you have any people living in Africa, any friends living in Africa, you can ask them. Many countries in Africa have Airtel, have Idea, Vodafone. They have these SIMs which they use for telecommunication. Many Indian pharmaceutical companies, they have established their manufacturing centers in Africa. Many Indian automobile companies like Tata, they have also established their plants and markets in Africa. Apart from that, there has been an Indo-African business conclave. That is a platform for Indian and African businesses to come together and discuss their future. What about development assistance and capacity building? India has invested a lot in the capacity building sector in Africa. We have invested in Pan-Africa e-network. So we are establishing a e-network in Africa which will support especially in tele-education and tele-medicine. India also has the ITEC program which provides capacity building and training to many African people in diverse fields like agriculture, technology, governance and so on. What is the full form of ITEC? Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation. With regards to education and scholarships, especially in higher education, we have many scholarships that India provides to Africa. We have scholarships by Indian Council for Cultural Relations, African Union's India-Africa Virtual Scholarship Program. So these scholarships are provided to the students of Africa to come and study in India. Then with regards to healthcare, apart from this telemedicine through Pan-Africa e-network, India also supplies a lot of generic medicines to Africa. Moreover, during COVID, we provided them with a lot of vaccines, a lot of medicines, a lot of equipments as well. With regards to energy cooperation, India has invested robustly in the renewable sector, especially in solar and wind in Africa. Moreover, under the International Solar Alliance, which is led by India, there is effort to do technology transfer to provide Africa with a robust technology with regards to solar energy. With regards to political and diplomatic relationship, we have various forums. We have the India-Africa Forum Summit, which was established way back in 2008, and it was decided that we'll have meeting of this forum every 3 years. We also cooperate at various international and regional platforms like United Nations, World Trade Organization, African Union, and so on. But apart from that, what else can be done? What more can be done to improve India-Africa relationships to ensure that India becomes a very big part of the African growth story? With regards to political and diplomatic relations, I just said that how we have India-Africa Forum Summit, right? So it started in 2008. The second meeting was in 2011. 2008, it was in Delhi. Second meeting was in Africa. Third meeting was to be in 2014, but because of Ebola outbreak, it got cancelled. It was held in 2015, where in India. The meeting after that was to be held in 2017 or 18, but it hasn't been held up till now. This meeting would especially be more important because this has to be held in Africa. We also need to start a new annual strategic dialogue between the AU chairperson, that is the chair of the African Union. So one country gets the chairmanship periodically of AU. So we need to start dialogue between AU and India, just like we have between EU, European Union and India. Apart from that, because India has the presidency of G20 this year, we must form a consensus between the various G20 members to include the African Union as a permanent member of G20. Moreover, to specifically focus upon Africa, it is needed that the Ministry of External Affairs, it should have a dedicated secretary exclusively for African affairs. Moreover, what about defense and security cooperation? We already have certain limited defense and security cooperations with Africa. See, this is Africa, this is India. We share a huge space, huge maritime space between each other. Also, this region of Indian Ocean, it is experiencing a lot of turbulence. It is one of the main trade locations or trade channel in the world as of now because of the development of the Asian region, right? Also, it is experiencing problems like terrorism, like piracy. Many countries like USA, China, they want to establish their supremacy in this region. So in this regard, defense cooperation becomes very important between India and Africa. We need to expand our dialogue, expand our discussions on defense issues. We need to discuss them more robustly. Moreover, we need to widen our maritime collaboration. Right now, we do not have a united collaboration between Africa as a whole and India. We need to establish that as well. We also need to expand our line of credit, the amount of loans that we can give to Africa so that they can import defense equipments, especially because India is going to start export of defense equipments like BrahMos missile. So if we are able to provide them with the finance for this import, then that will be helpful for India itself. We also need to increase the number of defense trainings between the continent of Africa, the various countries of Africa and India. We also need to improve our cooperation on various burning issues like terrorism. You can see how terrorism is very much over this region. We also need to focus upon the emerging technologies, AI, cyber intelligence, cyber security. We need to help Africa. We need Africa to help us in this regard as well. Then, economic and development cooperation. We need to improve the access of finance to the various companies, to the various firms, the various self-help groups of Africa, because that will help in their development. That might help in increasing our exports to Africa as well. There is a fund, the Africa Growth Fund, which has been proposed by FICCI to provide funding to various companies of Africa. Now do not confuse this with another same fund, Africa Growth Fund, which has been started, a $200 million fund by MasterCard and Visa. That is a different fund. This is a different one that FICCI has proposed. We also need to adopt various measures to improve the exports from India to Africa, and financing the companies will be a very good effort in this regard. We also need to increase our cooperation when it comes to shipping industry. Lastly, we need to deepen our technological cooperation, the science and technology cooperation, in order to increase innovation, because developing world, it lags behind when it comes to innovation compared to the developed world. So the developing world, it needs to come together to increase their innovation levels. And this now is very important with regards to our soft power. Socio-cultural cooperation. We need to have a greater interaction between the various universities, academicians, think tanks and media organizations between India and various African nations. There can be student exchange programs that can be established. The media, they can go to other country to get some training and so on. Moreover, we need to set up a national center for African studies dedicated purely to Africa, its growth, its economy, its defense and various other disciplines. The ITEC, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, as well as the ICCR, both of them, they provide certain scholarships to the students of Africa. Now, according to this article, it is advised that these scholarships, they should be named after the major African leaders. So this will increase the awareness about these scholarships and also instill a sense of pride amongst the African students. Also, lastly, the visa measures for the African students, they should be made easier for the students who want to come for higher education. They should also be provided work visas for short periods so that they can find jobs within India. So that is about the first article, which was about India-Africa relationships. Okay, we studied what is the history of India-Africa relationships. We studied what is our competition, taking an example of China, our biggest competitor. And third, what else can be done in order to improve these relationships. Okay. Now the next topic, another very interesting topic with again a China angle. Okay. So India backs 2016 ruling that favored Philippines in the South China Sea. So right now the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Like we have ministers, they have secretaries. So their Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Enrique A. Manalo. He started his official visit to India on 27th June and it ended yesterday on 30th June. Okay, so during this it was discussed that how South China Sea region, it is a problematic region, and how China along with ASEAN, they are trying to develop a code of conduct for the South China Sea. Now during this discussion, Indian Foreign Minister Sri S. Jaishankar, he said that while developing this code of conduct, the UN clause, United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, its rules should be undertaken into mind. Okay, and also this 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, this should also be kept in mind. So I have covered these two topics. So India has firmly believed in international law and has requested their adherence. The international law is UNCLOS. We want the adherence of UNCLOS during any kind of negotiations regarding the South China Sea. So you can see in this image very clearly the 9-dash line of China. So 9-dash line of China, it was taken from the 1940s map of China. So according to this 9-dash line map, any region that comes within these 9 dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any region that comes within these 9 dashes, it is a part of China according to China. So you can see over here, because of this 9-dash line map, there have been a lot of tussles between China and the other littoral states in this region. You can see Senkaku-Dayo Island, for which there has been a tussle between China and Japan. There is Pratas Island, Paracel Island, Macclesfield Bank, Scarborough Shoal, and Spratly Island. So if you take a look at this map, it becomes very important. Why? Because in your prelims, it can be asked, arrange from north to south these regions which have been in dispute, in news for the past few days or the past few years. So you can see that at the northernmost side, we have the Senkaku or Diao Island, and at the southernmost side, we have the Spratly Island. Okay, so after this session, just go through this map once again. So this entire region under 9-dash line, according to China, is Chinese. However, there are other littoral countries also, and according to UNCLOS, we'll take a look at this as well in the upcoming slides. According to UNCLOS, there has been a certain criteria given to decide what region comes under the territory of what country. So there is a lot of dispute in this region. China follows the 9-dash line adopted in 1940s. Vietnam, up until 1970s, it did not say anything to China. It did not raise any disputes. However, from 1970s, once the relationship between China and Vietnam, it started to deteriorate, Vietnam also started raising questions that why is China coming in their EEZ? You can see that Taiwan considers this entire area as their EEZ, exclusive economic zone. Brunei considers this much, Malaysia this much, Vietnam this much, Philippines here. So there is a lot of intermingling, intersection between what one country considers as their economic zone and what other country does. Okay, so Vietnam started it after 1970s. Malaysia says that the Spratly Island, they fall under Malaysia's border, and that is why accordingly Malaysia's exclusive economic zone should be decided. Indonesia also says that according to UNCLOS, they have a certain region that comes under their territory, which China and other Asian nations, they are considering to be their own. Same goes for Philippines as well as Brunei. So because of these disputes in the year 2016, Philippines filed a case in Permanent Court of Arbitration. Before we go there, what is the importance of South China Sea for India? Why is India giving this statement that all the negotiations regarding South China Sea should follow the international law? It is because 55% of our international trade, exports and imports, they pass through Malacca Strait. So, where is Malacca Strait? Just south of Singapore. We also have opportunities to back the contracts, not contacts, contracts, for resource exploration in the region, in the South China Sea region. For example, Vietnam has already given oil blocks to the ONGC Videsh Limited for exploration of oil reserves in the region. So China has been contesting that. China has been saying that it is wrong on India's part to work in their economic zone, but Vietnam says that it is their economic zone. So what was the 2016 ruling of the PCA? First of all, what is the PCA? It is the Permanent Court of Arbitration. It is not a part of United Nations, okay? So it is not a part of United Nations. It is an intergovernmental agency which is located where? In a place known as Hague in Netherlands. Okay. So it helps in private dispute resolution. So publicly you file a case. Privately, if you want to resolve any dispute, you do arbitration. So Manila, what is Manila? It is the capital of Philippines. Manila went to the PCA and said that Beijing, it is causing problems to Manila by claiming its exclusive economic zone. So Manila is not able to explore various resources, it is not able to do fishing in its own exclusive economic zone because of Chinese interference. This was against the 9-dash line of the China and its infringement of economic and territorial rights of Philippines. However, China said that we are refusing to even be a part of this arbitration. So only Philippines took a part in this arbitration, and the PCA eventually, it gave its verdict in the year 2016. So what did PCA say? It said that the historic claims of China over the maritime area inside the 9-dash line has no lawful effect if they exceed what is entitled to under UNCLOS. So it basically said that historically there is no proof that that region, within that region, China had the exclusive, this is the very important word here, the exclusive right to explore fisheries, to explore resources or use the waters. China never had the exclusive right. For example, in India, if you say that Lakshadweep Island, so India has historically have had an exclusive ownership of Lakshadweep Islands, right? So it is a part of India. It is not a part of any other country like Maldives. It is a part of India. The area around it, it is a part of India. It is a territory of India, and exclusive economic zone, when calculated from Lakshadweep, it will become a part of India as well. But China never had this exclusive right over that region. All the countries in that region, they used to use that particular space. Okay. Also, it said that there were no natural habitat or natural habitations in the region that belong to China. See, China has been creating what? Artificial islands in that region. So they are creating the artificial islands and saying that around this island, because this island has been created by China, around this island, all the region will come to China, right? But the court said that these islands, they did not have any natural habitation or natural habitat. So that is why they cannot be considered when deciding the economic zone, exclusive economic zone of China. So there was no legal basis for China to claim any historic rights on the resources within the region falling in the 9-dash line. So PCA said that they are not creating any maritime boundary as such, but they are saying that China does not have any right over that region. It is Philippines region that it is claiming. Now what do you understand by law of sea? I have been repeating this word over here. See, law of sea, it is a branch of international law that deals with the public order, the public law and order at the sea. So to understand this and to basically notify this, the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, it was signed in December 1982 and it came into being in the year 1994. So it aims to codify the various international laws that govern the sea lanes, the territorial water, what waters will be a part of the country, what waters can be used by anyone, and the ocean resources. So according to this, up till 12 nautical miles. So what is nautical miles? Nautical mile is basically the distance between one latitude. If you move from 0° latitude to 1° latitude, that is 1 nautical mile. So up till 12 nautical miles, there will be the territorial sea. If this is India, then up till 12 nautical mile, the entire sea, it will be under the control of India. All the laws of India will apply over there. After that, we have a contiguous zone of 24 nautical miles. For example, this is India, this is some other country. There is a huge distance between these countries. So in that case, the territorial water of India can extend to contiguous zone as well. After 24 nautical miles, we have the exclusive economic zones. Okay, so please note that from the baseline till 12 nautical miles we have territorial sea, till 24 we have contiguous zone, and till 200 nautical miles we have the exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone, which was the point of contention between Philippines and China. So each nation's sovereign territorial sea, it is limited to a distance of 12 nautical mile. 1 nautical mile is approximately 1.8 kilometer, 1.85 kilometer. So up till 12 nautical mile, it is the territorial waters. However, the foreign vessels, they have the right of innocent passage. They can pass through the territorial water, but they cannot conduct any activities, any economic activities, any spying activities, any testing of weapon activities, okay? Then the exclusive economic zone, it stretches up to 200 nautical miles or 370 kilometers. So in the exclusive economic zones, it is the exclusive right of the country to tap any kind of resources in that region. Okay, so it can itself tap those resources like fish, like any minerals, or it can give contracts to any other country. All the other countries, they can conduct economic activities in this region or research activities in this region only after the permission of the country whose EEZ it is. After the EEZ, after the 200 nautical mile comes the high seas. So high seas, they are a common property of the entire world. Anyone can travel in the high seas, no permission required. However, for tapping any mineral resources in the high seas, it is necessary that the permission of International Seabed Authority, it is taken. So this is the law of sea. And with that, we come to an end to this particular article. Next article from GS3 paper. It is on dark patterns in online advertisements. So recently, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, it has launched a helpline. So basically this helpline is what? National Consumer Helpline. It was existing before also, but the Ministry of Consumer Affairs has said that if any person experiences any kind of dark pattern, any kind of manipulative online practices, then they can call this helpline at 1915 and they can say that we are experiencing this problem and they can file a complaint over there. So what do you understand by dark pattern? Now dark patterns, they are also known as deceptive design patterns. They are the various design techniques that are used by the designers. Who are the designers? These are the designers who design your user interface. When you see on your phone, like you are seeing YouTube on your phone, there is a user interface. There is the video over here, you can see the comments over here. This is a design. It is designed in such a way that the main focus is on the video, later it is on the comments, right? So this is a design. So the design is known as user interface, how user is seeing that particular thing. So the designers, they design this interface in such a manner that it is most comfortable for the users to use. However, in certain cases, the dark patterns, they creep in. They are also known as deceptive design patterns, which can affect the user's ability to take decisions. They can manipulate the users. Without knowing what is right or what is wrong, the user, they might have to take a decision. Okay? So it is a user interface design which manipulates the users into doing certain things. Examples of these are certain baseless countdowns for online deals, that this online deal will start in this many hours, this many minutes. Sometimes you get certain notifications, it will start just in 1 minute, come soon, because they are creating an artificial sense of what? Scarcity. So the scarcity actually does not exist. They have a lot of things in their stock, but they'll create an artificial sense of scarcity that you need to come on our website within this period so that you can claim this particular item. Conditions and fine print that add on to cost. So you get a voucher, you go on that website, you put that voucher code and you think that you will get that item for free. However, once you go to the payment page, there is addition of what? Shipping fee, various hidden taxes, various convenience fees, and you realize that you're not actually getting something for free. So various conditions, they are written in fine print in those gift vouchers or other things which also become a part of dark pattern. Making cancellation buttons hard to see or click, making ad hard to see or click. For example, you enter a website and there comes a pop-up over there. On the pop-up, some things are written and there is an option of OK. You're not able to see the option to cross it because it has been put very sneakily at one of the corners, and you feel that unless you accept this particular thing, you won't be able to check out the content on the website. Next is making ads appear as news reports or celebrity endorsements. Sometimes what happens in many of the news pages as well, there are articles of this news, right? But sneakily they put one article which is not actually from their website. In very small font it is written that it is an ad. But this is something that you can easily skip, and if you click on that website, some information of yours, it can be shared to that external website, or it can cause n number of other problems. Auto playing videos. Now this is one problem that is seen in many websites. Forcing users to create accounts to finish a transaction. If you want to finish a transaction, maybe on a travel website, you get the best deal, you're getting the best deal from there. You click on that deal, you book your ticket, and when you go to payment page, it is saying that unless you log in or create an account, you won't be able to go further. Silently charging credit cards after free trial ends. So you liked an app, so you took the free trial of the app for 30 days. Now to take the free trial, it is essential that you put the credentials of your credit card or debit card or any other card. Okay, so now after the 30-day trial ends, ideally this app should inform you via text, via email or any other way that your free trial is ending, and now unless you cancel it, you will be charged. But many a times these applications, these websites do not inform the user before charging them. Using dull colors to hide information that users should know about. For example, this is a white pop-up box. On the white pop-up box, this is okay. You agree to the information, and you don't agree to the information, it's cancel. But the cancel looks in such a way, it has been designed in such a way that it seems like you cannot click on that button. It seems unclickable. However, actually you can click on it, but it seems unclickable. So that is also an example of dark patterns. Now there is a big difference between not exactly a big difference, a thin line between dark patterns and persuasive designs. Now persuasive designs, they are such designs that are used by the designers to help the people, to help the users take decisions that are benefiting them, that are benefiting the users. For example, on an insurance website, they can give exact information that these many people, they suffer certain accidents every year, so it's better that you take the insurance. They are not giving you any kind of wrong information. They're not misleading you. They're just persuading you to take that plan because that can happen to these many people. This is the probability that this accident can take place, right? So that is persuasive designs that benefit the users. The dark patterns, they benefit the businesses. They are harmful for the users, okay? Then what are the concerns related to these dark patterns? First, it spoils the user experience. You enter an app, for example in games app, it is very common. You open a game, you start playing the game, but after your 5th chance, suddenly there comes a pop-up, there comes an ad. So it spoils your entire experience. You stop using that app altogether eventually. For businesses, what happens that consumers, they can lose trust on the business. If for multiple times you experience that you feel cheated, you feel that this business, it did not give you the freedom to take any decision, to take a decision to extend the trial, to take any other decision, then you will lose trust in that business. If there is a website which regularly causes pop-ups to appear on your screen, you will refrain from going to that website, right? It also increases the vulnerability to data and financial exploitation. For example, if a certain article, it has been shown as being a news article of this particular website itself. You click that particular article thinking that this seems interesting. You click it and your data, it can go to that particular website holder as well. Financial exploitation. You forgot to cancel your trial and your money, it keeps getting charged. Unless you check your bank statement, you do not realize where your money is going. In fact, especially for people who have low levels of financial literacy, this becomes a very big danger. Many times, many websites, they provide loans to the people, and in very fine print it is written what are the terms and conditions of that loan, that the people, they are not able to comprehend very easily. Very fine language, very complex language, so they are not able to realize what they are getting into. Also, it is unethical in nature. It exploits human psychology. Sometimes many websites, they make you feel guilty for not doing something. For example, you went to a website, a crowdfunding website, you donated to a particular person, then you start getting messages, regular message or regular pop-ups that if you're donated to this person, why are you not donating to this person, right? So there can be a lot of methods to exploit human psyche, human psychology using dark patterns. Now, what is the solution? The first onus, the first responsibility actually lies on the designers and the companies. who have developed that particular application, that particular website. The designs, they should be very transparent, made in such a manner that the users, they have the freedom to take any decision, to agree or disagree with any particular decision. Then laws and regulations. See, globally, there are currently no laws that are governing dark patterns. However, there is a Digital Services Act of European Union that from February 17, 2014, it is explicitly banning any kind of dark pattern usage. Okay. Apart from that, there is a Consumer Privacy Act of California State of USA that bans the worst type of dark patterns. The last solution is IEC activities: information, education and communication. People need to inform. The governments need to inform the users. The companies need to inform the users. The companies who are not using dark patterns, they need to inform the users about the problems related to dark patterns. In fact, this step by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, it is a part of the IEC activities. Many people were not aware about dark patterns, but now they will be. So this makes users aware of their rights. So this is all about the mains type of articles. Now we come to the prelims bites, where we have 3 articles lined up. The first is establishment of the Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam Knowledge Center and Space Museum. So yesterday, the foundation for this particular museum was laid in a place known as Kodiyar in Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. So what is the aim of this museum? It wants to commemorate the achievements by our former president, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, because he spent a lot of time, lot of his formative years in Thiruvananthapuram when he was becoming a part of the space program of India. Now this particular museum, it is being developed as a joint collaborative effort between the Kerala state government as well as the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Now the idea for this museum, it was conceived way back in 2016. It was conceived in 2016. It was to be developed, it is to be developed in a place, in an area of 1.3 acres, very near to this Kodiyar Palace. Now Kodiyar Palace, it was constructed in the year 1934 by Maharaja Shri Chithira Thirunal Balaram Verma. So it is a heritage site, a tourist site, and that is why the plan of this particular museum, it hit some roadblocks when it came to the decision of the Heritage Committee. However, now it has gotten a go ahead after certain tweaks to the plan, and now the foundation stone of this museum has been set, and it is expected that in the upcoming 18 months, that is approximately by the end of next year, this museum, it will be working. It will be in a working condition. It will be properly constructed. Next is about SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Russia has said that Iran is set to join the Shanghai Alliance, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, next week. So with that, Iran will become the 9th member of SCO. So what is the history of SCO? It was established or created in the year 2001. In the year 2002, its charter was signed. Charter, what all work will it do, what all will be the areas of cooperation and other details. It was signed in 2002 and it came into force in the year 2003. So it is a political, economic as well as the military organization, and it has Eurasian partners. When we say Eurasian partners, that it means its members, some belong to Europe, some belong to Asia. However, only one of the members, that is Russia, belongs to Europe because Moscow is in Europe. Now, before the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, there was Shanghai 5. So, Shanghai 5 was the precursor of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. What were the 5 members of Shanghai 5? We had China, we had Russia. Apart from that, we have Kazakhstan, then we had Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Then in the year 2001, Uzbekistan joined Shanghai 5 and Shanghai 5 became the SCO. Now since then, there were only 6 members till the year 2017. In the year 2017, finally India as well as Pakistan got their membership of SCO. So the members, they increased to 8, and now in 2023 the members, they will increase to 9 with Iran becoming a part of it. The official languages of SCO include Russian and Chinese. Next is the last one, the last topic. The 8 sectors of economy, the core sectors, the core 8 sectors of the economy, they have shown a decline in their growth compared to May 2022, when the growth rate of these 8 sectors was 19.3%. It has now declined to only 4.3% in May 2023. Now every month, at the end of the month, the details, the data, the index, it is released. Okay. So in June, on 30th June, the data for May 2023 was released. The data for June, it will be released the last working day of July. Okay. So 8 sectors of economy, these are known as core sectors. Why? Because they act as a feeder for other sectors. For example, coal, electricity, crude oil, they are raw materials, very important raw materials for a lot of other industries. So that is why they are considered as the core industries. In the industrial index of industrial production, the total weight of these 8 industries is 40.27%. So what are these 8 sectors? We have coal, crude oil, natural gas, petroleum refinery, fertilizers, steel, cement and electricity. Now this index, it is released every month by the Office of Economic Advisor, which comes under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, which further comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The base year for this index, it was changed in the past few years from 2004-5 to 2011-12. When it comes to this, please note that IIP and the core industries, index of core industries, they are calculated by 2 different agencies. This is calculated by Office of Economic Advisor, whereas IIP, it is calculated by Central Statistical Organization. So do not get confused, okay? So with that, we come to an end to this session. Just a quick recap. First topic, we talked about Indo-African relationships. We talked about the competition that India is facing, what is the current status, and later we realized how can we improve this particular relationship. Second, we talked about what? The 2016 ruling of South China Sea in favor of Philippines by the Permanent Court of Arbitration. We understood how Philippines minister has come to India for the discussion, and S.J. Shankarji, he said that any kind of discussion regarding the South China Sea between China and ASEAN, it should follow the international law. We also took a look at the UNCLOS. Then we came to the third topic, which is about the dark patterns. Currently, there are no laws globally with regards to dark patterns, but there is a state law in state of California of USA, and from 2014, the Digital Services Act, it will ban any kind of dark patterns in the websites or applications. India has come up India has realized the problem related to dark patterns and it has allowed the people to complain regarding them on the consumer helpline number. Then in the prelims bites, we studied about the Space Museum, the upcoming Space Museum. We also took a look at how Iran is going to join SCA, and finally we had a look at the core sector of economy. Now we come to the mains practice questions. We have 2 questions for you again. First question is, 21st century is steering to become the African century in the coming decades. Do you agree? So this is a question that is asking for your opinion. You need to write whether you agree, whether you don't agree, and you need to provide solid evidence for your decision. In the background, throw a light on the Indo-African relationships. So here you have to mention what is the existing relationship between India and the African continent. Then what more can India do to improve its partnership with the continent? Okay, so 50 marks for intro and conclusion, and the rest 250 marks, 50 words for intro and conclusion and 200 words for the rest of the body. The second question is about dark patterns. What do you understand by dark pattern? Very direct question. What do you understand by them? You can mention they are known as deceptive patterns, deceptive design patterns. They are user interfaces that can manipulate the users. Has the government of India taken any steps against this issue? So here you can mention what you saw in today's newspaper, that yes, MCA has said that consumers, they can dial 1915 and tell the issues related to dark patterns on the consumer helpline number. Okay. So with that, we come to an end to today's session. Do not forget to head to our Telegram channel to attempt a quiz that has been created on this analysis. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all tomorrow as well.